Hello everybody, Rodman here for episode 3 of my Stellaris Let's Play. So last episode we sort of raced to the edges of our territory. This episode I'm hoping to ramp up for war. At the moment, my nearest neighbors have a far more powerful fleet than I do, but I think my economy is a bit stronger. So I'm going to sort of prepare in that regard. As well as, whatever else comes up, because God knows there will probably be 10 more things that pop up as things to manage. That's how this game goes. So last I left off, I have a science ship going to the debris. Oh, they finally declared me a rival. And another science ship going to the pulsating star to do the pulsating star ceramic mission. I've done this mission before, so it's pretty familiar to me. Another thing I can do to sort of jumpstart my fleet is to repair this automated shipyard, which should give me possibly a cruiser, which is much more powerful ship than I currently have in my fleet. That would be ideal. And I'm also going to start expanding my territory southbound to some of these choke points down here.
Construction project concluded.
I wanted to sort of lock down all the places I've already surveyed before I start with additional surveying. I thought it'd be best to lower my piracy risk, mostly because they're annoying. I don't want to have to constantly deal with pirates flooding in. Alright, so let's read what this says. I turned this zone to have a lot more energy, I guess, is the reaction to the mission I had. Oh, that's fine. So I'm going to queue up 2 more robots to be built at my first colony. They're not obviously being built on the mineral spots, but I am going to remove the glaciers and then move the robots onto where the minerals are. Just sort of planning ahead. Takes a while to build the robots, so I might as well build them now, and then I'll have them when I need them.
System survey concluded without incident.
Alright. At this point, I'm going to double back this scientist to start surveying around my home system, because there are more colonizable planets near my home system that I have yet to colonize. And I think it's about time that I get my hands dirty and get some colonizing going.
Construction project concluded.
Let's see. Did I have... No, okay. I was wondering if I had any missions and any mandates left over, but I've fulfilled all the mandates, which is good. Now in full as, I definitely need to build some engineering station there, because that's a lot of
special project concluded.
Okay, so special project, I got 3 raiders.
Construction project concluded.
It's not bad. For very little effort, I'd have to say. Alright, now I'm going to turn Distal into an outpost. So really soon I will have a lot more engineering research because I have 9 here untapped and 6 here untapped. So I think pretty soon I'm going to have a sort of an influx of lovely engineering, which will be nice. Just looking at some of these systems, you can kind of tell without actually heading there if there's going to be planets worth going to. Like, I haven't actually surveyed this, but Toxic World, some barren worlds, more toxic worlds. Oh, sometimes this does this. There we go. It I discovered some random aliens and it bugs out a little bit. I tend to do the investigation alien missions as soon as they're being offered, because sometimes they offer some really powerful bonuses. Alright, so distal, yeah, there we go. The research base has a lot. So now I have a spare researcher that has, I guess, nothing to do. So what I'll do is I'll set him on automatic survey, and he'll just jump system to system and starts filling in the my map. I should have some pretty good progress on autocannons and the like. Okay, so we have a an alien empire that mirrors my own, and they are just down here. They're possibly some pretty good allies. What I'm going to do is I'm going to trade communications with them. Oh, they are not interested in that. Let's see if I can't sweeten the pot. There we go. And that way they'll introduce me to their next door neighbors that are xenophobic pacifists that they don't like. They have closed their borders. And then that little agreement. Okay, so I just unlocked battleships. I think my next unlock are going to be the armor, level 2 armor, out of 5 levels, potentially even higher, but it starts at 5. There are some special events that can kick it up a little further, but you start at 5. Okay, one more thing I want to do is at Gomesia. I'm going to turn this into a starport.
Anomaly found.
I'm going to turn Gomesia. I'm going to start researching these anomalies when I find them. So I cut down my travel time. So Gomesia is going to be my starport. I'm not likely to ever use this ocean world ever. So instead of
Construction project
colonizing that ocean world, I'm going to turn my starter worlds shipyard into a starport. That is my plan. So I'm going to replace the shipyard with a trading hub, replace the crew quarters with a off-world trading company, and I'll get more energy as a result. Trying to min-max my economy, I guess, is one way to look at it. So Prosnaken definitely came up from this way. So this path probably leads this way, meaning I really ought to start surveying southbound. I think they're going to be probably some pretty good allies potentially, because we have the same ethics, government ethics, which definitely helps. But time will tell. So now that my fleet's a little bit stronger, compared to my rivals here, they're not overwhelmingly powerful. They're just superior at this point, and that
Construction
that will
project
change
concluded.
as time goes on. While I gain ships,
Construction project
their
concluded.
relative power will decrease comparatively.
Construction project concluded.
Okay, so I'm going to pause it for 1 second and look at my leaders. So I have one leader that's level 5, which is at the moment the skill cap, which is pretty good. And then I have another governor that I'm not using. One thing I need to do is build a science ship. I have a scientist that's idle that's not doing anything, so I'm going to save up 100 minerals to build a science ship. Come to the new year, January 1st. There we go. Getting a science ship rolled off the line. Because there's just a lot more surveying to do. So what I'm going to do actually is fully survey Brachium, or whatever that place is called.
System survey concluded without incident.
And then head this ship down south to start surveying southbound. Because I've kind of gone... there's more to go east, but obviously this is the border of the galaxy. There's more to go south, but that's pretty far from my the core of my system. So the only other way that is sort of unexplored is southbound. I just got tier 2 armor. I think I'm going to get ion thrusters, which will increase the propulsion of my my ships. And as you can see, my engineering research is really taken off, which is good.
Project concluded.
And we just got another tradition, so I'm going to unlock Utopian Dream. Oh, so what this allows you to do is on each planet that has planetary administration, it allows you to replace or build a paradise dome, which increases the happiness for everyone on that planet, generates a little bit of food, and also generates unity. So it's sort of like a triple trouble. It's a pretty nice building to have. All right, so I just put a scientist into the ship I constructed. Before I build that, I'm going to get my Gomesia's
tile blocker cleared.
My Gomesia's shipyard up and running. Oops. I guess I have accidentally an extra science ship. I wasn't paying enough attention, but that's fine. What I'm going to do with this science ship is throw a scientist into it and then have them assist research at Triac Prime. So what this will do is it will, because of my scientist is only level 1, it increases the research output of all the buildings at that place by 10. And I'm getting insulted by my my neighbor. Let's see. I'm going to enable Map the Stars again, because I'm back to surveying. So here we go. I kind of move these guys around. I ended up building the robot, but not the mining network that I should have already constructed. That's okay. Just falling behind a little bit. So here I'll probably build a Paradise Dome as well. I tend to like to build Paradise Domes everywhere just to increase happiness, as the happiness of my my guys are pretty helpful. All right, so I did find the world I was kind of looking for, which is Med Karash the Third, or whatever, 3. It's a pretty big planet, and I'm going to save up for a colony ship now as a result.
Anomaly found.
And I have 5 precursor things to research,
Construction
which
project concluded.
is 5 of 6. So if I wanted to sort of push that would be worth pushing, I guess. Is to try to get the ball rolling and end up getting
Construction project concluded.
the precursor. That will unlock a system that can give me a lot of good initial research, and it has a lot of benefits, I guess, is the short way of explaining. Definitely worth doing.
Construction project concluded. Construction project concluded. System survey concluded.
Okay, so I have another grouping of pirates at Tethel. I'm going to send my ship fleet out to deal with that. And then, although it will take a while, I'm going to start researching these really high-tier anomalies. Actually, I'm going to... This... Yeah, I'm not going to do it with this guy. We do this one with this one. This guy has anomaly discovery chance as a skill.
System
Meticulous.
survey concluded.
Which makes them better at discovering, anomalies, of course. And that's something I want out of a researcher to do surveys.
Hostile IFF signatures.
Alright, so this fleet is only 259 strength. That's not that tough.
Science ship sustaining damage.
Unfortunately, my science ship just got caught in the crossfire. Hopefully they flee. There we go. They fled, which is good. They disengaged. They survive for another day. So now it's time, before I forget, once again, to put Paradise Domes where they need to be. So this is not the best researcher for the anomaly because he's pretty low level, but that's just going to be what we do. I don't have enough gold, or rather energy credits, I don't know why I called it gold, to pay for more Unity from the artists.
Damage.
So that's something I have to earn up for. Save up for a little bit of that. So they're attacking an outpost. This is going to be a short and sweet battle. I'm considerably stronger than they are for once. So they'll be wiped, and then I'll destroy them, and they're at Tethel. Okay, so the scientist. This scientist here, I'm going to have get repaired at the space station.
Construction project.
And then once he's fully repaired, I'll send him out. We also just got the colony ship, which means we honestly need to send this constructor over to Medkarash to claim it for our own, so that we can colonize it. Kind of doing a lot of little things at once.
Construction project concluded.
Alright, so the pirates are threatening to attack me unless I pay them off. At the moment, I'm not ready to build up a big fleet, so I'm actually going to pay them off. And they should probably, they'll as a result, leave me alone for kind of a while. Usually I dig my heels in and fight them, but right at this moment, I just don't really have the fleet to do it. I'm focusing on sort of expanding and construction and that kind of stuff. So it'd be bad to get embroiled into a big sort of brawl at this moment. There's also no telling how many they'll send. They could send me a fleet of a few hundred, which is not that hard to bust up, or they could send a giant fleet to smash me, and it's you know it's hard to gauge you know what sort of strength they're at until they show up at your doorstep and start smashing.
Striking hostile station. Research concluded.
Alright, so I blew up the pirates. I got a bunch of helpful research, so I'm going to increase my sensors, increase my command limit. So I should explain this. You have both a fleet naval capacity, which is how many ships you can support total, and then also command limit, which is how many you can support within one fleet. So this naval capacity can be exceeded. The command limit cannot. So you can only build, right now I can only build a fleet up to 30 size. The command limit research I'm doing right now will allow me to bump that up from 30 to 50, but that's obviously more ships than I can support. That's fine. It's research that will be invaluable later on. And here we go. I have another election underway, which will give me a new mandate for either research or mining bases. So we'll have to see which they want.
Shipwreck studied. Fascinating.
Getting a little bit of shipwreck study, which is nice. It actually increased my gravitic sensor research, which pushes me ahead a bit.
Construction project concluded.
So Gamesia at this point is a fully operational shipyard, which is good. And I'm going to upgrade my capital from planetary administration to planetary capital.
Construction project concluded.
As you can see here, I'm doing filling out a lot of the sort of mining and research bases that I need all over the place. So I have an orbital research base. I re-elected our last leader, so he's not. No one basically got displaced. Sometimes in the elections, what will happen is you'll end up electing someone that will kick someone else out of office. So you have to do a little bit of leader management when that happens, but when you get reelected, that's not the case.
Construction project concluded.
So now we are getting almost as much unity as we can out of our planets. Sort of, let's check. We have 12 from one and 11 from the other.
Research concluded.
I tend to like to push for unity as fast as I can. So here's a research that I'm really obligated to do, which is upgrading my robots to droids. And I'm obligated, not really literally obligated, but I'm compelled to do it because my factions, my science faction, much prefers to be on the bleeding edge of robotics and droids and all that. So had I not done that, I could potentially upset my faction. Each faction will have a unique set of sort of requests and requirements, and I just know from experience that's one of them that the scientific faction will sort of impose on you.
Construction project concluded. Construction project concluded.
Now at this point, we can now colonize Medcrash, and ideally, let's see, is there a good place to colonize? Maybe here. There's some good adjacency bonuses, not perfect ones, but decent ones.
Initial colonization phase commencing.
And this is our third colony.
Construction project concluded.
Alright, I just got one of my leaders got substance abuser, which means they die a little young. Unfortunately, it's the one I really like, which is the surveyor. That really can't, unfortunately, be helped. So I can also upgrade this planetary administration to a planetary capital, and I'm going to save the resources to do that. My fleet has been repaired. Comparing to my neighbor, they're not superior to me, but I really ought to think about destroyers. So let's go ahead and go into the ship designer. I'm going to put better armor into my ships. I unlocked basic attack, and I think what I'll do is I'll do picket defenses. So what this does, Swarm kind of gets close and fires point blank. Picket stands at medium range, and then there's eventually artillery stances as well. And then what I'm going to do here, because I don't have enough energy to power, there we go. I like this design. And off to destroyers. So for the destroyers, I'm going to have, the larger the slot, the longer the range. So I'm going to have just these be sort of artillery ships. So they're going to be sort of longer range artillery ships. I'll also give them afterburners. So now I can upgrade my current fleet and roll a destroyer off the line, but first I want to upgrade this planetary administration.
Construction project concluded.
Which will take one more month of resources. It's a pretty lengthy process to build planetary capitals, but they're pretty powerful.
Research concluded.
Alright, so now that I have gravitic sensors, it's going to... Ooh, I'm being offered better shields. Going to take that. It's going to start naming these unknown systems because I can see a bit further. So here, for instance, I can see there's an ocean world that I haven't yet surveyed, and there'll be some other sort of revelations given that I can see a bit further.
Concluded.
As you can see, I'm gaining a fair bit of influence per turn, per month, I should say, not really turn. And that's because I'm really satisfying the different factions that I have. I'm probably not going to have research agreements. I mean, it's possible I have a research agreement with these guys. Maybe they wouldn't accept it at the moment. I could probably bribe them. Let's see if it's possible to bribe them. Nope, I couldn't even bribe them to have one. But had I, if I declared war on their enemies, they might be more inclined. There's a lot of different ways to sort of suck up. Suck up is probably the, sort of use diplomacy to sort of make yourselves more friendly. I'm not at this point ready to employ those tactics, but just knowing that I can sometimes is helpful. So as you can see, these high-tier, high-level anomalies take a pretty long time to research. These guys have been at it for a long time, so there is a risk of them dying of old age if I'm not paying attention to how old they are, what traits they have, etc., etc. So now I have this planetary capital here. It's got more adjacency bonuses, so as you can see, I got a lot more minerals out of certain areas over others. And because I am slowly capturing the territories that I've surveyed, my piracy risk is decreasing. Not by much yet, but slowly decreasing. Now, it's possible I'm not going to find a lot of anomalies in this path because I think Prosnaken surveyed a lot of this stuff. Their science ship came up my way and probably surveyed this whole path between me and Prosnaken.
Situation log updated.
Alright, so the scientist that was at Medcrash found a ancient trade post, which is part of the quest chain that I need to uncover for the Precursor quest chain. At this point, I'm going to increase my food capacity from 200 to 1,000. So my populations are not going to grow quite as fast, but I'll have a nice abundance of food if I go into the negative. My populations won't starve. Let's see. Leader lifespan increased by 20 years. That sounds good. That offsets the sort of negative substance abuse that this leader decided to have.
Construction project concluded. Construction project concluded.
And now I'm starting to roll destroyers off the line, and I am equivalent fleet strength to my rivaling neighbors.
Special project concluded.
Alright, so there we go. I got the first of the Precursor chain done. At Medcrash. So as you can see here, I've completed the trade post, and there will be other Precursor chains that I need to sort of uncover.
Research concluded.
I just got better shields, and I might go with Power Plant 3 next. There were a lot of really good research being offered there, but sometimes you just gotta figure out what would be best. Alright, so we just got another one of these Precursor quest chains done. I found an ancient satellite, so now I've just got to research the satellite, and
Construction project
we'll just keep going like that until we are done with all this Precursor stuff. My piracy risk is slowly decreasing as I'm conquering the neighboring territories, which is pretty nice. I've just encountered new aliens that I don't have knowledge of, so let's go ahead and I'm also going to do the cloud study. It's down from like 40 months to 14.
Construction project concluded.
That means that I'm not going to be getting. You know what? Actually, let's get power plants first. That's pretty important research. What I'm going to do with my anomaly researcher.
An empire has established
there we go. Hello. We're kind of similar. Fanatic materialist. They happen to be a pacifist. I'm not, but that means we have some things in common, some shared common ground. So the researcher or the surveyor I had going south, I'm actually going to send back north, and then I'm going to send this surveyor, this scientist, south. I kind of suspect that all these systems are already sort of tapped for potential anomalies because they've already been surveyed by others. So I want to have my surveyor that does anomaly discovery head to where there could be anomalies. There's no real point to have him survey things that are almost certainly not going to have anomalies.
Construction project concluded.
So I just got the mandate fulfilled, which gives me a nice boost of unity. No complaints there.
Research concluded.
Increased my command limit. Now, at this juncture, I think I'm going to do genome mapping just because it's really cheap. Cheap and easy to do. But there's a lot of... I've been being offered a lot of really good research options that there aren't an obvious winner, which is good. I mean, I'd rather have that than a bunch of losers. So there is an Ether Drake here, which is sort of like a space dragon. It is... I forget what they call them. They're kind of like really dangerous sort of endgame bosses that provide bonuses if you defeat them. For Ether, they require a pretty big, a significantly larger fleet than I currently have, so it's not something I'm about to embark on. But it's worth keeping in the back of my head that I know where the Ether Drake is, because the Ether Drake, killing it can lead to either me getting my own Space Dragon or getting higher level armor. Each of those sort of dangers come with their own sets of bonuses. So that's one of them. All right. Well, Makosa is starting to claim my systems. So what a claim does, they claim Distal. So they already have claimed Zempak and they've claimed Distal. What you can do is, if I declared war on them right now, all I could do is humiliate them, which is of limited use. But if I start to make claims, I can actually say this territory is mine. And if I win the war, I end up with that territory being forfeited from them to me. So they're making claims against me. At the moment, I'm more interested in expanding within my own territory than making claims against them. But if they are seriously considering war against me, then yeah, I'll start to make claims against them. Now at this point, hopefully these are systems that haven't been surveyed by anyone else, which seems to be true because I'm finding anomalies. So instead of actually researching those anomalies, I'm going to leave them because he's best at finding them, but because he has a shorter lifespan, I'd rather have him find them and have someone else research them than have him find and research them, just to min-max the amount of that he can do within one lifetime.
Anomaly found.
And he's finding, yeah, quite a bit of stuff. So now I'm cranking out destroyers. I've got a fleet that they're building up their fleet. I've been building up my fleet, and they're still superior to me, which means they are militarizing for an attack, likely, and almost certainly an attack against me, as there wouldn't really be much of a point to attack anyone else. Oh, so there were. Oh, there's a bunch of. Okay, there's a bunch of sort of high-level anomalies there. I hadn't realized that that was like a big collection of them. And I just got robots, droids now. So if I go back and look at my robots, they are, they're not droids yet. They should be soon. Few species.
Research concluded.
I would really love some more star bases. So now, yeah, as you can see, they're droids. It just took a second. It took a month for them to update. And being droids, they mine even more resources. So this used to be, yeah, these are droids now, so they have even 25% more mineral gain than standard. 15% for being a droid, 10% for being having power drills built into them.
Construction project concluded. Initial colonization phase complete.
Alright, this is good news. So my colony that I was developing just finished. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a monument for Unity, build a robot, and start developing this this colony up. Additionally, because I colonized one more thing, because of the population I have and the amount of systems I have, I can build another starbase immediately, even without the extra starbase research that I had unlocked. So I'll plan on putting a starbase at Medkarash and turning it into a trade post once I have the resources to do it. It's not my highest concern because I have a lot of energy, but that's definitely something I'm going to get done soon. So my neighbors that I like, or sort of like, are really quickly expanding towards me. My guess is there's some sort of bottleneck here that's preventing them from going north. Either way, I really want to start heading south and fast because
Special project concluded.
they're going to be sort of absorbing as much as much territory as they can. Same could be said over here. Obviously, I'm not going to get Cedar, or maybe not obviously, but I'll probably not get Cedar because I won't be that quick to spread. But it's worth keeping in mind that I'm going to want to sort of expand out to the edge of my borders for claiming or for sort of territorial purposes. Now, of course, if you wanted to build wide and not tall and not wide, you wouldn't worry about expanding your borders quite in this way. I tend to do both if I can. I tend to go wide rather than tall. Maybe I'll do a tall build in a future playthrough. I've been sort of mulling it over in my head of like, what would that look like, and the strategies. I haven't really done it before, so it would offer its own unique set of challenges. Now, at this point, when you colonize new worlds, as long as you have open migration, your people can migrate. So the person that was operating my capital is deciding to probably migrate to Medkarash, and as a result, I would not have someone operating the capital, which is kind of an important building. So I switched him to just a random farm. So it's, my capital doesn't go unmanned, because that would be that'd be bad.
System survey concluded. Construction project concluded.
At this point, rather than building some more mining, I'm going to build that starport that I wanted. Also, Breek Prime. Yeah, okay.
Construction project concluded. An alien empire has established communications.
Okay, so here's another empire that's very similar to my own. And they are they border, and we really like one another quite a bit. Let's go ahead and offer a trade deal of exchanging of communications and see if I can't. That's a lot of money, but I'm going to do it anyway. Because there we go. So there's a lot of fanatic materialist egalitarians around. I don't know why the AI decided to give me a bunch of those. But obviously this opened up channels with almost the whole galaxy. So now I can really see where people are, how strong they are, etc., etc. It was worth the energy credits. So although I might not have the most territory because I've blocked a lot of the, I've gone out to the trade lanes as fast as I can. I have the potential for the largest empire because I control quite a lot. Alright, so now people that aren't so fond of me are going to start closing their borders, and I tend to just go ahead and close my borders back with them. And this will happen every time you meet new AIs. Anytime it's a sort of incompatible enemy, you'll end up having to shut borders quickly on them. I'm gonna go ahead back into the ship designer and see if there's any way to make these stronger. I can make a slightly better shields, and instead put a reactor booster because I needed more power. You can't have negative power in a ship. If I had better reactors, I wouldn't have to do that. So that's something to think about, is focusing on reactors. I do have a lot of influence because I just met a lot of people. So I'm going to go ahead and do improved energy initiative, which should give me a little bit more research and minerals. So that increases my industry a bit.
Fleet enhancement supplied.
Not hugely, but a bit. And here we go. We're starting to get more Precursor quest chain stuff done, which is awesome. And some more people closing the borders to me, which is par for the course. I'm surprised they actually close their borders to me. They don't. They've spread pretty wide and full.
Construction project concluded. Construction project concluded.
That's a really weird looking planet. That's a brown dwarf. Star, I guess, not planet. Sort of both. Not really, but sort of both. Alright, so Triac Prime has hydroponic farms that are unmanned because one of them migrated to this new planet. So as such, I employed them at the monument so I get some more unity, and I am
construction project concluded.
Working on removing all the tile blockers that inhibit growth. So most importantly, I would want botine, or whatever, botine, because that is somewhat of a bottleneck for all of these systems. And I am currently building there now, so that I will own it and not Prosnakin. And I'll just keep saving up for military ships. Now the problem with
special project concluded.
With amassing military ships is you got to pay for them, right? They're not super inexpensive. So if you keep sort of building them up but never using them, you're sort of hindering your own potential economy, because honestly they're expensive, and you shouldn't just sit on a bunch of military ships doing nothing. You should ideally use them. So at the moment I'm sitting on not a huge fleet, but a decent fleet. A fleet equipped enough to defend against my hostile neighbors, but probably not enough to really defeat them. So I just unlocked, let's look at this, governing ethics attraction. So what that allows is it makes it more likely to have scientists and egalitarians than anything else. It is possible to have ethics that aren't of your governing ethics, and then it forms factions that are hard to satisfy because they're not really part of your own ethos. So it is beneficial to sort of make sure that everyone in your empire sort of follows the government of the Empire. Otherwise, you can end up with issues where insurrections and things like that. It doesn't happen very often, but when it does happen, it's pretty messy. I guess is the easiest way to say it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of give Prosnakin these systems here. I'm not gonna bother trying to lock those down.
Construction project concluded.
I'm going to stop at Botine. Because that seems like a fine place to stop. At Medcrash, we just got an odd factory here. Usually that means people are going to get abducted.
Anomaly found.
Just from experience, it tends to be what it is. But sometimes, eventually it might pay out in a good way. But for now, it's going to be kind of annoying. The people on that new planet are going to go missing, and it's kind of a problem at times.
Construction project concluded. Construction project concluded. Anomaly found.
That's such an easy to research anomaly. I'm just, actually, no. Focus on survey only. I don't know how long he's going to live, but he's the best surveyor, so I'm going to crack the whip and put him to work.
Special project concluded.
So if you look at the quest chain now, I've got 5 out of 6 done. And then I have some other unrelated anomalies to research. So I still need to dig up one more evidence of the Precursor. But I'm doing a pretty good job of making progress on that. This is kind of faster than I'm used to, if I'm being honest. Normally, for me, it takes a little bit longer to get the Precursor stuff. So needless to say, I'm pleased by that. And the expansion of my empire is going, I don't know, pretty smoothly.
Construction project concluded.
Don't have any L gates. Well, maybe I have them disabled.
System survey concluded.
I'm not sure. I think I do, which is too bad. I really thought I had that mod enabled, but it's looking likely that I don't. If you don't know what they are, I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm a little bummed that there aren't L gates here. Maybe there will be. Maybe I just haven't found evidence of one. So I did just discover some curators. They're not even there.
Anomaly found.
Where are these curators? So these are scientists that help me do research. Wow, they are really in the corner of nowhere. So I want to save up some energy to be able to pay them for research help. So I'm going to temporarily kind of focus on energy and energy production to be able to jumpstart that. Well, that's kind of a nice system right there. Maybe I don't want to hand that over to the Prosnakin. It's possible I can snag it before they do.
Construction project concluded.
Well, I am
Construction
about
project concluded.
at my limit now of time. I'm out of time. So yeah, in this episode, I guess I just really built up my military and kind of spread my borders around and met most of the AI. I think I had 12 AI. So if I sort by status, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think I've met everyone, which is good. So I at least know that there's a nice empty space for expansion over here. If I conquer red, these Belmacosa, maybe I can start spreading out this way. There is a limit of how wide I want to go, so I could also vassalize these guys, make them my vassals, and limit their power that way. But I'll get into that discussion at a later time. Maybe not even next episode, but whenever I go to war with them. I will have to catch all of you guys next time. If you have any questions for me, drop me a line, and thank you for watching. Adios.